Cavaliers are heading into the offseason after having an incredible season where they exceeded expectations. As of right now, if they accept all the qualifying offers and team options, they have $121.9 million guaranteed, which puts them about 3.1 under the salary cap. Now, I want to hear your thoughts before we continue today's video. What do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers should do? Why should they do it, and how will they do it? Let me hear your predictions down below. Like and subscribe for over 150 videos a month regarding every single NBA team. So look, this team has a young core of franchise cornerstones of Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. You just got to fill the holes in between those players. And they saw a 22-win improvement from last year. Yes, it ended in a play-in tournament loss, which I know it was a loss, but it's a win itself that they made it there. They have an opportunity to build off an incredibly strong season with the youth that is needed. So let's talk about what needs to be done. First off, they're going to trade Kevin Love to clear salary. The Cavaliers already have 10 players under contract, okay? And if they clear Kevin Love's contract right now, that is, okay, $28.9 million. That would put them right there, what, 20 million, 101, $93 million. So they would have $32 million in cap space to play with if they trade away Kevin Love. I expect them to do it because if they move him, they'll open up the salaries for improvements. Okay, shedding his salary would allow them to add two middle cost, like starting level players, or possibly one big name player, or they could get multiple, middle of the road rotational players. And yes, Kevin Love has his own skill set, 3-point shooting, rebound, excellent passing vision, but his salary is too much for a six-man for what he contributes on the floor at this stage of his career with no defense. Now, capitalizing on Darius Garland's stardom, in my opinion, requires trading Colin Sexton. Yes, Colin Sexton was awesome, in those first 11 games, or even the year before where he averaged 24 points, 4.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds, 1 steal on 37% from 3 and 48% effective field goal percentage. He's just 23, but he's a very valuable trade chip that you could probably sign and trade him to a team that would need him, okay? And by doing that, you could probably acquire a ball hog. This is my other prediction. So trading Kevin Love and Colin Sexton are my two first predictions. And now acquiring another ball handler to take the pressure off of Darius Garland. We saw how much Ricky Rubio fit in nicely before suffering a season-ending injury. And then they traded Rajon Rondo, who's heading for free agency. But Rondo wasn't as good as Sexton or Rubio. Now, there's guys like Kemba Walker, who I know he didn't have a great year this year, but there was moments where he looked decent. So I think if they can get a guy, Tyus Jones, okay, DeLon Wright, okay, those guys, Corey Joseph, even a Patty Mills would help them. But I think more defensive would be where they should go, and that's why I go Corey Joseph if they could make a trade for him. DeLon Wright would be awesome. Tyus Jones, personally, I would very much like him. Even DJ Augustine, I wouldn't think he'd be a bad option for them. Now, I think if you look at this team, it's a very interesting situation because the Cleveland Cavaliers have the 14th overall pick, and I have them currently drafting Ty Washington. And the reason why I have them drafting Ty Washington is if they do trade Colin Sexton and Kevin Love, and they don't bring back Ricky Rubio, Ty Washington would be the perfect point guard for them at the 14th if they stay at the 14th spot, which they have, 0.5% at winning the lottery. So I really think, imagine if Darius Garland started and then you have Ty Washington backing him up. I actually think that's a really good backup, guy for him that's a decent pick, okay? And the Cleveland Cavaliers, if we look at the free agents options, besides getting a point guard like the ones I had mentioned above, and besides bringing back Ricky Rubio, which they could probably do cheap, because he's a guy, look, he'll be sought after. But look, Tyus Jones, who's having a great year this year, his scoring, passing, and even defensive ability, guy averaging 1 steal a game while shooting, almost 40% from 3, phenomenal. But I think another guy they should look at, Gary Payton II, okay? He's a guy who's cut from the same cloth as his father, and he's been guarding Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole in practice. Top-notch point guard defender with raw but somewhat improving offensive game. Shot 36% from 3 this year, 61.6% from the field. So he's a guy who can help them. Even Victor Oladipo would be a good guy. Dante DiVincenzo, Otto Porter, all these guys. JaVale McGee to back up Nick Batum. these are old guys that they could very much benefit. But I think if you're looking for a backup point guard, or even Gary Harris would be nice, a backup point guard along the lines that they could get cheap, DeLon Wright's really one I want them to go after. But the more you look at even a Joe Ingles, I know he's more of a forward, but he's more of a point forward, if anything. And I keep looking and I'm thinking, look, I really like DeLon Wright. Goran Dragic's a little older, but Aaron Holiday is going to be a restricted free agent, so he's a feisty defender at the point guard spot with plus shooting ability at 37%, almost 38%. Those are all guys you got to be thinking about who they can go after. People that you mainly don't think of at first, but could make a very good impact on this team. Like Corey Joseph, he has a player option, but if he declines it, he's an experienced point guard who can run an offense pretty well, like an adept, and as well, he's a good shooter and he plays decent defense. And then if you want to go more offense, there's Trey Burke and Frank Jackson. I think Austin Rivers would be great. These are all guys they should look into.